why are some people or some kids or some individuals are so good with their memory and they remember everything versus some individuals are not?
So, there are things where people talk about eidetic memory or photographic memory, where you actually look at a page and now you remember it and the next day you just remember the page. Some of it is training. Some of it is inherent capabilities also. Like, for example, someone is a really good dancer versus not. Someone's really good at having hand-eye coordination and that's why they can play. So there will be some inherent differences, but a lot of it is once you discover a talent, you tend to hone it. When you're good at something and you realize, this is actually a positive reward for me because I feel good at it. It's a self-perpetuating thing. The minute you find something you're good at and it gives you a sense of pleasure and a sense of reward that you have done well at it, you tend to go and repeat it.
So are you telling me that if there is a kid, okay, in a family, and let's say two kids who have exactly same identical biology and brain, right. Okay, two kids. One kid, you tell that kid again, you're dumb, you can't remember everything, again and again, every day for a year. And one kid, you keep telling every day that you're intelligent, you remember everything. Okay, you're such a brilliant kid, you have sharp memory and you remember everything. Regardless of what they do, if you keep telling them, you think the one you're telling nice things will end up becoming better at memory than versus not?
101%. There's no doubt about it. Because
so the
stress associated with continuously being negated and continuously being told you're incapable has a clear impact. I'm not saying it will be black or white, but there's no question that if you started with two individuals with identical capability and then the environment pushed one to have positive reinforcement and the other to have continuous negative reinforcement, there's no doubt that you will drive a differential.
And can they do that in adults as well?
To a lesser extent, but absolutely to a lesser extent, because the brain is much more plastic and much more open to change in a younger nervous system. So your first 25 years of your life, that's a window in which there's much more plasticity than in the second 25 and the last 25. It's downhill after that first 25. It moves in the other direction. So plasticity is reducing in the range of what it can do. So when I say plasticity, it means the ability of your brain to change, to effectively change in response to environment. Our brain is like I said, its job is to take in information from the environment and make change to be able to adapt better to the world. That's what it does.
Very, very interesting. But tell me how, okay, coming to high achievers, okay? And this is the most fascinating thing which I love doing, right? So I observe a lot of athletes. And just for the fun of it, like how do they perform? How do they come to the court? What do they do in practice? And all the videos I can find out, right? There's one identical thing you will find out in, I think, thousands of Olympic athletes, okay? And you will see that probably you know it already, is when like you look at all the runners or anyone, the moment there is like this, the gun, right? The body moves. Have you seen it? Like
it's a prep.
It's a prep, right?
It's an internal prep of the brain before anything actually happens.
So what I was seeing, I was looking at this one runner whose race was next. Okay, and he was in the stands and he was watching. This is Olympic going on, and I think it was like a 400-meter race, and next was 100 meters, something like that. Okay, this guy was standing here. The race was there, and they put a gun trigger for that race, but this guy in the stand, he was like in a resting mode. His body moved.
Totally understand.
And like just his body took a reaction. So why did that? Like what is going on? How's it become muscle memory that a gunshot, which will probably scare some people or make them nervous or make them prep, this guy just can't think of anything and just moving like this?
That's because that entire sequence has probably been practiced in his mind over and over and over again. It's the same with someone like a concert pianist, which is if you are hearing, so I'll give you this is a good example because a concert pianist is actually a good way of, so when you move your fingers in a particular way, those individual fingers have representations in the brain. And so that part of the brain is getting active as you're moving that finger and even before you move the finger. There's something called the premotor, which is before the sequence starts, you imagine it and you start playing it. Now, let's say I'm a concert pianist and you are playing the same sequence. I'm not even moving my fingers. I'm listening in the audience. I'm playing out the whole sequence in my premotor cortex because I know how the sequence will be played. I have practiced it so much that you're playing the music. Even before you hit the key, will activate my brain to start producing the exact same sequence. And this is something called mirror neurons. We have the capability of imagining another's actions. And before they perform the action, we predict what they're going to do. So this is a prediction system that we have, which is rather unique and special to primates. So primates tend to have this mirror neuron system really developed where we actually predict the other's action, which helps you, right? It's a shortcut. Let's say you and I are sitting. If I have a good idea of how you're going to behave, what you're going to do, then it makes this conversation so much easier. It flows because I'm predicting what you're going to do. And that's what we're doing in all social interactions.
Yeah.
We're mimicking the other person's potential action by imagining what they likely will do. And we tend to do this better with those whom we understand better. So you're Indian, I'm Indian. We have a common shared vocabulary of an understanding of our country, our culture. So it's an ease. Let's say you stick me with someone from like Indonesia and they don't speak English or they don't speak Hindi or they don't speak whatever common language. We will struggle initially because our ability to predict the other person's actions has gone because cultural context has moved away. This is why we find it easier to hang out with our own. The problem with that is it also comes with a negative of that, which is that we have an implicit bias to preferring people who sound like us, look like us, behave like us, and we find it harder to deal